You go to college basketball, for the most part, you see abysmal three-point shooting. And you go to high school basketball and you see abysmal three-point shooting, and you see these incredible, just unrecognizable ways of approaching the game. I went to a high school game a couple of years ago. Team was leading by 4 in the final minute. A guy was dribbling out on the wing. I thought, okay, you're going to try to draw a foul, put this game away at the line. He jacks it up from 3. Had no business doing it, missed it, and the other team comes back to win. I asked the coach about it afterwards. He goes, I can't stop these guys from shooting. I can't stop it. So we have a whole generation of kids that think they can shoot and they can't. So props to Stephen Curry, but the proliferation of three-point shots in college and lower levels, I think, is just really, really screwed the game up.
I have a devil's advocate on this, but somebody else go ahead and weigh in.
I guess we're all the ones that want to take two.
It is what it is. I mean, go ahead, Sam. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that, we sound like the guys that, you're supposed to take 2 and hit the right after 2 strikes. Now, 0-2, they're swinging for the fences these days. But, yeah, I mean, dribbling the ball out, drawing a foul, and winning the game would have been the number one thing. The other, you mentioned Steph Curry, and I do think he's a fabulous player. And by all accounts, he's just a fabulous representative of the NBA and of his family and all things. He's a phenomenal golfer. I mean, really a good guy, apparently. But he could walk into a room, if he wasn't Steph Curry, and he could walk into a room and not be recognized immediately as an NBA player. What is he, 6'4", I think?
Maybe.
Something.
Yeah, he's not that tall.
Yeah. So you get a lot of guys who are not, 6'7", 6'8", who decide, okay, I'm a shooter and Steph Curry's my guy, and I'm just going to put it up all the time. But the game has become, the three-pointer or the dunk, period. Mid-range shooters, they start talking about those guys in legendary terms now. If you can make a 12-footer, I mean, that's where you ought to start with your game. But everybody either starts behind the line or under the basket. And that's why, as Joey said, much of basketball these days is unwatchable.
Well, devil's advocate, and George, I'll come to you first on this to add in. There are those who say, wait a minute, you guys are taking away the exciting part of the game. The three-pointer changes the game in an instant. Anybody can do that and change. Look what happened. I mean, Rutgers beat Purdue on a half-court shot worth 3 points. At the buzzer, beat the number 1 team in the nation. So without that, you don't have that kind of excitement. And not only that, but there's guys who are going to say, what goes on underneath the basket? Come on, it's a bunch of guys just jostling around right there. The dunk is exciting. The three-point is exciting. We don't want to play the other game and waste time with it. We need excitement. George, it's a point to be made because isn't sports about the exciting play to begin with?
Oh, it is. And then this all factors into TV and ESPN. And what do we see in the highlight reel? We see the monster dunks. We see the great three-point shots. Guess what? There are basketball players or viewers too, and they see this and they go, I want to be cool too. I want to be on ESPN's top 10 plays. And so the game has changed. It's certainly turned into more of a inside-out game as opposed to having the traditional center. Certainly in the NBA, they're more or less extinct. The days of Shaq and Akeem was had a lot of finesse, but the Alonzo Mournings of the world, that kind of thing, those guys are. I don't know what would happen in today's NBA. I guess you'd still feed them the ball inside, but you've got so many guys that are just, the hybrid. They're almost like center power forward types. And then the smaller guys, hey, let's jack it up because the metrics also tell you that if you take X number of three-pointers, you've got a better shot if you take X number of two-pointers.
Sure.
So
and the game has to evolve.
Yeah, and it's evolved in that way, and people might not like it. Maybe we're traditionalists and say, what happened to the good old days, where you just, fed the beast inside and, somebody, it's just things change.
Well, that's just it. There's no more traditional.
I don't think it's a cycle. I don't think it's a cycle. I don't think we're going to go back to anything. I think this is the way it's going to be, period.
I'm not against the three-point shot. It's great. I just want to see people who can make it. Just have a better shot selection. Hey, a three-point shot is the greatest thing ever if it goes in. But I'm just saying, if it's not there, why force it? And some guys aren't designed to take 3-point shots. They have other skills, but seemingly everybody who comes into basketball now thinks they can do it.
Well, aren't we getting
And
down
they're
then to
not.
the discussion about the fact that skills in the NBA are diluted or diminished from what they were, certainly 30 years ago, 20 years, even 10 years ago, because you have guys and gals who will spend more time looking for the 3-point shot than they will looking for, again, George kind of alluded to it a little bit. Sam and I can talk about this from a TV aspect. When you're putting together that 30, 40-second highlights, we don't get that 18-second great play. Here's a pass, here's a pass, here's a pass, here's a pass. No. Our producers are sitting back there going, dunk, dunk, three-pointer, dunk, coach's headshot, player's headshot, dunk, dunk, three-point, win the game and go.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
get it. But you go
those are the
the
skills
three
right
point
now
shot
that
just
sell
didn't.
basketball.
Yeah, the 3-point shot just didn't come about in the last few years. It's been around for a lot of years at the
Sure.
NBA, and I just, back in the days of Larry Bird and all those guys, it was fine. I just think there's been a delusion of talent and skill, and the percentages have gone way down. And I certainly understand that three is more than two, and it's a way for teams to win games or to equalize. But I've just seen so many 3 for 20 from three games that it's just not fun to watch.
But is it a dilution of talent, or is it simply stated the evolution of the game because the players are bigger, stronger, and you need more excitement?
Maybe again, I'll go back to I want to see them make the shot. I've got no problem with them taking the shot. I want to see them make the shot at a higher level. Um, you can only take so many games of 3 for 20 from three and a loss before I think you got to start doing something different. And I just see too many guys who think it's okay to shoot 20% from 3-point range. That's the acceptable standard. And I just think over time you can only watch that so long before you move on to something else.
Sam, is it talent or is it just evolution of the game?
I do think it's the evolution of the game. I mean, would you rather watch Princeton play Wisconsin and the final score is 41-40 and 70% of the shots are made on the backdoor cut? Or are you going to watch Michigan State play Maryland and it's a 85-83 game that's won on a three-pointer at the buzzer? I mean, those are that's kind of where you mentioned television comes into the equation, where it's entertainment and they're looking for
I'm,
that kind of entertainment.
I'm all in for the 85-83 game. I just don't want to see the 53-51 game where nobody can make a 3-pointer, and I think we're seeing too many of those.
Well, I think George made a good point too, and Sam and I can talk about this when it comes to television. We all can. ESPN changed the game. They changed every sport, no matter how you look at it, because he's right. Sports Center came along. Here's the highlights. Here's the national look. I started 3 national sports networks, and the earliest one goes back to 1990. It's Sports News Network. And we were ESPN News before ESPN News started. And the most important thing for us at the time, even back then, was making sure that you get, here's the 20, 30-second highlight package, maybe the 45-second highlight package, the big plays, the dunks, the three-pointers. That's what it was. Television changed basketball, better or for worse, but certainly it made it more of a me first game, and make sure you make the highlight reel because that's going to make me a better player. They thought that's going to make me more money. They thought it's going to make me a bigger contract. They still think to this day, yes?
Yeah, I agree with that. I had a thought bubble I just want to put out there too. If we take it to another level, a higher level here, and look at baseball, who bunts anymore? Like who can bunt successfully? It's those little things. It's that fundamental skill set that we've lost. And what's happened in pro football? Does anybody tackle? Because they go for the big shot, assuming that it's still legal.
Well, but wait a minute. But they also don't
Well,
tackle in the way that we're sitting here as a bunch of old guys talking about it because the rules have changed. I
no,
mean,
they have changed, but you see a lot of guys instead of just making a tackle, they will go within the rules of reason. They will try to just go for the knockout shot, and it's changed the dynamic. It's changed the fundamentals of these games have changed for different reasons, and it's been an evolution, and some say for the better, and some say for not. But in a lot of the major sports, we've just had fundamentals have devolved in different ways.
But is it a big deal? I mean, look, I'm going to devil's advocate. Okay, so fundamentals have been devolved. Big deal. Game changes.
Yeah, but if we're sitting here, we're older guys. We have a reference point.
Stop saying that, man.
Yeah, you get off my lawn here, and I want to see a good bunt.
Every single one of us, I'm going to have to, in post-production, I'm going to have to put up like a big grass field right here. Here's the lawn, kids.